Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? You guys have really thrown us a curveball this time.
Yeah, real mix of sources.
Seriously, we've got a crypto podcast, economic reports, even a court case.
Really keeps us on our toes.
That's for sure. But hey, that's what makes these deep dives so fun, right? We got to piece it all together.
Exactly. Uncover those hidden connections.
And this time, it seems like everything's pointing to, crypto, AI, and how they're kind of reshaping the world. So let's jump right in with this Crypto and Coffee podcast episode. The host is absolutely convinced that something's fishy with Bitcoin's price.
Yeah, he really goes after the mainstream media's coverage of it.
Doesn't he? He's like, the U.S. economy is doing great, but the media's twisting the narrative.
And driving Bitcoin prices down.
Right. But he doesn't stop there. He's all like, they've got motives, maybe political leanings, or even financial interests behind this whole negative spin.
It's quite a claim.
Oh, yeah. He even throws around terms like fake news, notorious belly, and whales.
Sounds like he's hinting at market manipulation.
Right. Like, do they really have that much power to influence the market, even if the economic data is telling a different story?
Well, we've seen how narratives, especially in the crypto world, can really drive trends.
Totally. Remember the GameStop thing?
Exactly. That was all about social media hype, not traditional financial analysis.
It makes you think, how often do we see headlines, even positive ones, and the market just freaks out?
It's that gut reaction.
Yeah, totally disregarding the actual data.
The psychology of investing is fascinating, isn't it?
For sure. Okay, enough of the doom and gloom. Let's move on to something a little more upbeat.
Like what?
This Ripple partnership with Chainlink.
Oh, yeah, that caught my eye, too.
This could be huge, especially for their stablecoin, RLUSD, and the whole decentralized finance world.
They're trying to position it as a more reliable and regulated alternative to Tether.
And the podcast host is all over it. He's praising Chainlink's price feeds and security features.
Saying it's a game changer.
Could this be how RLUSD finally takes on Tether, especially in a more regulated space?
It's definitely possible. And remember, RLUSD is on both the XRP ledger and Ethereum blockchain, which makes it pretty versatile.
Imagine a world where stablecoins are just .normal,
Yeah.
paying for stuff, sending money across borders, earning interest. RLUSD seems designed for that.
It's compelling vision.
It is. But then there's this court case about a Bitcoin investor being forced to hand over his private keys.
Yeah, it's a bit unsettling.
It makes you wonder, do we really own our crypto if something like that can happen?
It's a big question. That tension between the idea of crypto being decentralized and, well, the reality of government power.
It used to be all about not your keys, not your coins.
Yeah.
Right, complete control.
Right.
But now the government can legally step in and take that control away.
It really raises questions about the future of crypto regulation, especially in the U.S.
What other reasons could they use to justify seizing assets?
Yeah.
It's a bit unnerving.
Especially as crypto becomes more mainstream. The need for clear regulations that balance innovation and consumer protection is becoming increasingly important.
Absolutely. Okay, enough with the serious stuff again. Let's jet off to Thailand for a minute. Things are about to get a whole lot more tropical.
Topical? What do you mean?
They're trying out crypto payments for tourists in Phuket. Can you imagine? Paying for pad thai with Bitcoin.
That's pretty bold. Could be a big win for Thailand's tourism and for crypto adoption as a whole.
The podcast host digs into the details, mentioning a clearinghouse that converts crypto to Thai baht.
And identity verification, of course.
Right. It's interesting to see how a country might actually integrate crypto into their economy.
Finding that sweet spot between making it user-friendly and staying compliant with regulations.
Totally. This could be the start of something much bigger, right?
Who knows? Maybe one day crypto will be the go-to for international travel.
Imagine the impact on banks and currency exchanges. Okay, time for another gear shift. Let's talk about Dubai.
They're making some big moves too.
Huge. They're pouring billions into building data centers right here in the U.S., and it's all about AI.
That's right. EdNex, part of Dubai's Damar Group, is investing at least $20 billion in U.S. data centers.
And the podcast host really emphasized the AI part of it.
Yeah, they're not just dipping their toes, they're diving headfirst into the AI world.
And they seem to have some high-level U.S. support, too. The president personally invited the Damar CEO to Florida to announce the deal.
It definitely signals that the U.S. is on board with this.
What's their end game, though? Are they trying to become a global AI leader? How will this affect the future of technology, especially as AI becomes more, everywhere?
It's going to be fascinating to watch how this all plays out. The ripple effects could be massive.
And Dubai isn't just focused on AI. They're also trying to attract top global talent.
Yes. This report you sent from the UAE government really highlights that.
They're painting this picture of a booming economy, especially in tech, that's drawing in skilled professionals from all over.
They're putting a lot of emphasis on digital transformation, sustainability, and worker rights.
Creating a recipe for a thriving, innovative environment.
Exactly. And it seems to be working. The report mentions how the UAE ranks high in global talent indices.
Yeah, they're attracting people from all over, especially in fields like software engineering, AI programming, data science, you name it.
It seems like they're building an ecosystem that nurtures innovation and attracts the talent to drive it forward.
Okay, but let's circle back to Bitcoin for a sec.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about this idea that a strong U.S. economy, despite what the media is saying, could actually be good for Bitcoin in the long run.
All right, let's break that down a bit.
So the podcast host really dives into the recent economic data, and, he paints a pretty optimistic picture. He throws out numbers like 3.1% GDP growth last quarter
That's not bad at all.
and inflation at like 2.4%.
Pretty close to the Fed's target.
Way better than that 8% we saw a couple years back.
Right.
But then he drops this bomb. A strong economy might not be so great for Bitcoin.
That's where it gets interesting.
He argues that if the economy keeps doing well, the Fed might, tighten monetary policy.
Leading to higher interest rates.
Exactly. And that could make traditional assets, like fiat currency, more appealing to investors.
Pulling money away from Bitcoin.
So it's like Bitcoin thrives on a bit of uncertainty, a bit of risk-on mentality.
When things are booming, people might shift to safer bets.
Makes sense. Investors always want the best returns. If they see Bitcoin as riskier, they'll probably park their money elsewhere.
Especially if those other options are looking more attractive.
And then there's inflation.
Right. Even though it's under control now, it's always a factor.
He says, on the one hand, if inflation stays low,
Bitcoin could become even more appealing.
as a hedge against inflation, like digital gold.
Right.
But if inflation starts creeping back up, even a little,
The Fed might step in,
raise those interest rates.
which could hurt riskier assets like Bitcoin.
It's a tricky balance,
Central banks are walking a tightrope.
trying to keep inflation down and the economy growing.
Their decisions have huge ripple effects, especially in the crypto market.
He spent some time on monetary policy, too, specifically interest rates.
It's all connected.
He points out that when interest rates go up,
It often squeezes liquidity out of the markets.
potentially pushing Bitcoin's price down.
But on the other hand,
If they keep rates steady or even lower them,
Bitcoin could become more appealing.
and its price could go up.
It's a seesaw.
He seems frustrated that even with all this good economic news, Bitcoin hasn't really taken off.
I can see why.
He even throws out the whale word again.
Suggesting market manipulation.
Like those big investors are keeping prices down for their own benefit.
It's a common theory in the crypto world.
And it's not just about the economy either. He talks about the risks of private credit and stablecoins,
Like what could happen if they become unstable?
or even collapse,
It could send shockwaves through the whole crypto market.
dragging Bitcoin down with it.
It's a legitimate concern, especially with the lack of regulation we see in crypto.
He brings up the Terra USD and Luna crash a few years back.
A prime example of what can go wrong.
But here's the twist. He thinks more regulation could actually be a good thing.
Interesting.
It could bring more structure, more security to the ecosystem.
Making it more attractive to those big institutional investors.
The ones who are hesitant to jump in right now.
That makes sense.
His main message is, don't just blindly trust the mainstream media.
Do your own research.
Read those economic reports for yourself.
Form your own opinions.
He even suggests using AI tools like ChatGPT to analyze data and get a clearer picture.
AI can be powerful for that.
But it's only as good as the data it's fed, right?
Exactly. And it's not a replacement for critical thinking.
He mentions a speech by a Federal Reserve governor about the challenges they're facing and says, hey, run it through ChatGPT and see what you find.
Could be an interesting exercise.
Okay, let's shift gears. Ripple and their big move with Chainlink.
Their strategy to make RLUSD a major player in DeFi.
Are they taking aim at Tether?
Seems like it, but they're focusing on trust, compliance, utility.
Trying to build a bridge between crypto and traditional finance.
A stablecoin that works in both worlds.
And the podcast host is really excited about RLUSD being on both the XRP ledger and Ethereum.
It makes it more versatile, compatible with more DeFi applications.
He calls it a game changer
It gives them access to the strengths of both blockchains,
and makes it easier for developers and users to work with.
which is key for wider adoption.
He goes deep on how Chainlink's price feeds will provide secure, reliable data for RLUSD on Ethereum.
Those price feeds are essential for all sorts of DeFi applications, like trading and lending.
Even cross-border payments.
Chainlink has a good reputation for security and reliability.
He explains how they aggregate data from different sources, clean it up, make sure the pricing reflects real-world market conditions,
Transparency and trust.
especially as regulators start paying more attention to crypto.
It's all about building confidence.
He lists out some of Chainlink's features: high-quality data, secure nodes, a distributed architecture, a reputation system.
They're not messing around.
He says this partnership addresses some of the biggest challenges holding back DeFi.
Like access to reliable price data,
Accurate pricing is key for managing risk, building trust.
getting people to use stablecoins in decentralized marketplaces,
He even says this could make Ripple a major force in the DeFi world.
enabling more secure, efficient, and scalable markets.
It's a bold claim.
But their focus on compliance could give them an edge.
And it's not just about DeFi either.
Yeah.
He talks about the potential of stablecoins for all kinds of global transactions.
Instant, low-cost payments, whether you're buying something locally or sending money across borders.
Cutting out those expensive, inefficient traditional systems.
A revolution in how we move money,
He really stresses that RLUSD is designed to be rock solid.
maintaining its peg to the US dollar,
That stability is key.
if people are going to trust it,
As a medium of exchange,
and a store value.
it seems like this initiative is all part of Ripple's bigger plan,
To make stablecoins mainstream.
used by everyone.
Institutions, everyday people, everyone.
He quotes some Ripple and Chainlink execs, emphasizing how important this collaboration is,
Johnny from Chainlink Labs talks about the growth of tokenized assets.
and how reliable data is crucial for stablecoin adoption.
Makes sense.
And Jack McDonald from Ripple highlights the need for transparency, building trust, scaling RLUSD,
Both companies clearly believe this is a game changer.
a key step towards wider adoption of stablecoins and expanding DeFi's reach.
A big bet on the future.
He even throws out a prediction. If RLUSD's market cap hits $10 billion,
What then?
it could go head-to-head with Tether,
Wow!
especially with Tether facing those regulatory issues in Europe.
It's a significant milestone.
It shows the potential for disruption in the stablecoin market,
If Ripple plays their cards right,
leveraging compliance, the strategic partnerships.
they could really shake things up.
Speaking of regulations, let's get back to reality for a
What
second.
do you mean?
The podcast host brings up the case of Richard Ahlgren.
The Bitcoin investor.
Yeah, the one who was ordered by a federal court to hand over his encryption keys.
To unlock over $100 million in digital assets.
It really challenges that whole decentralization narrative.
Shows that even with crypto's anonymity, the government can still get their hands on your assets.
Especially if you're involved in financial crimes.
Right.
Ahlgren was convicted of tax evasion, and the judge didn't hesitate.
Ordered him to disclose all his private keys, storage devices.
No moving or hiding assets without the court's permission.
Wow.
Seems like those days of hide your Bitcoin and you're good are over.
This sets a precedent for how the U.S. government will approach crypto tax enforcement,
A clear message that they have the power to seize crypto assets.
even if they're offline.
He says this is all part of a bigger trend.
Governments cracking down on crypto tax evasion.
They're getting more sophisticated.
The Wild West days of crypto are fading.
As crypto goes mainstream, governments want to make sure it's not being used for illegal stuff.
Or to avoid taxes.
He mentions a report that criticizes the lack of clear crypto laws in the U.S.,
It argues that this forces the government to rely on enforcement actions.
creating uncertainty, stifling innovation,
A solid regulatory framework would benefit everyone,
providing clarity for businesses, investors.
fostering a more stable market.
He even shares a personal story.
Really?
He says he's not even sure if paying taxes on his crypto in the U.S. is technically legal,
Oh, wow.
but stresses that filing false info is definitely a crime,
It's a complex landscape.
even for people deep in the crypto world.
Highlights the need for professional advice when dealing with crypto and taxes.
Okay, enough with the heavy stuff. Let's head back to Thailand, where things are a bit more relaxed.
Sounds good.
Remember that crypto payments program they're testing in Phuket?
For tourists,
They're really serious about becoming a crypto-friendly destination.
this is a bold experiment.
Could change how crypto is adopted in the tourism industry.
If Thailand succeeds,
Other countries might follow suit.
trying to attract those crypto travelers,
The podcast host thinks this could be a turning point.
especially with crypto's growing popularity.
He even suggests that Bitcoin's limited supply and rising demand could boost its value.
As more people use it for travel expenses.
Interesting idea.
Imagine traveling the world, paying for everything with Bitcoin.
No more hassle with currency exchanges.
That would be amazing.
The pilot program will use a clearinghouse to convert crypto payments into Thai baht.
Makes sense.
It addresses the volatility of crypto.
Businesses get paid in a stable currency.
It's a bridge between traditional finance and the crypto world.
Makes it easier for everyone to participate.
A smooth transition to crypto adoption.
Without disrupting things too much.
Thailand's deputy prime minister, who's also the finance minister, stressed that it's all legal.
Following all the rules.
Aims to keep Thailand competitive in the tourism market.
They're being responsible.
Making sure everything is above board.
Not taking unnecessary risks.
He did mention that foreigners will need to register their Bitcoin
Through an exchange.
and go through identity verification.
KYC and AML procedures.
Standard practice in finance.
Essential for preventing money laundering and other illegal activities.
It's good to see they're taking these precautions.
Absolutely.
All right, let's zoom back to Dubai. And those massive data centers
A huge investment.
shows Dubai's commitment to becoming an AI leader.
And strengthens the bond between Dubai and the U.S.
The podcast host really emphasized President Trump's involvement.
Inviting the DeMar CEO to his home in Florida
That's a big deal.
shows strong support from the U.S. government.
And President Trump hinted that the investment could be even bigger.
More than $40 billion.
That's what he said,
Dubai's playing the long game,
laying the foundation for decades of innovation.
attracting talent and investment from all over the world.
He listed off the states where the data centers are planned. Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana,
Spread across the country
creating a resilient network.
and bringing jobs to different regions.
He also talked about the close relationship between President Trump and Hussein Sajwani, the DeMar CEO.
Apparently, Sajwani had been waiting 4 years to discuss this,
Personal connections can make a big difference in these deals.
especially international ones,
He also mentioned some of DeMar's other U.S. investments.
like Anthropic and XAI.
They're not just building infrastructure. They're supporting the development of AI itself.
A comprehensive approach.
And they're doing a luxury condo project in Miami, too.
Diversifying their portfolio.
Putting their faith in the U.S. economy.
It's a sign of confidence.
Okay, one last thing. That UAE government report about attracting global talent,
They're really promoting themselves as a global talent hub.
especially for tech,
They highlight their diversified economy,
state-of-the-art infrastructure,
focus on digital transformation,
sustainability,
and worker rights.
creating an environment where businesses and professionals can thrive.
It's an attractive package.
And it seems to be working,
They mentioned several global rankings that put them at the top.
like being a top choice for work visas.
And a great place for digital nomads.
Even ranking high for expats,
It's not just about tech workers either.
or attracting a wide range of professionals.
Building a diverse community,
The report also talks about the impact of AI on their job market.
automating tasks, freeing up people for more creative roles.
A future where technology empowers us.
I like that.
They see tech and healthcare as key growth sectors.
With high demand for software engineers, AI programmers, data scientists, automation specialists,
It's a tech-driven economy.
and those data center investments will create even more demand.
They're also seeing growth in marketing,
Advertising, PR, digital marketing.
attracting a diverse talent pool.
It's a dynamic and evolving autonomy,
The report also highlights their strong economic performance,
projecting growth rates above the global average.
which drives job market growth.
A virtuous cycle.
So they're investing in technology, building infrastructure, creating a supportive environment,
A strategic approach to the global economy.
something other countries might want to learn from.
As the world becomes more digital and interconnected,
We've covered a lot today.
we have Bitcoin, stablecoins, regulations, AI, global talent.
It's a lot to take in.
But it all points to one thing. We're in a time of rapid change and transformation.
The world is evolving faster than ever.
And these trends are reshaping everything.
It's exciting and a little daunting.
But it's important to stay curious and adaptable.
Now let's step back and think about what this all means for the average person.
What are the key takeaways? What should our listeners be thinking about?
It's like we just went on this crazy trip into the future.
Right.
Bitcoin on the beach in Thailand, AI-powered cities in Dubai.
A lot to digest.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just about these individual trends,
No, it's about seeing the bigger picture.
how they all fit together.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for, the average person listening?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that we're in this era of constant technological change,
Things are moving so fast.
and everything's connected.
Globalization, decentralized systems, it's all happening at once.
And it's changing everything, how we work, how we invest, even how we travel.
Like the rules are being rewritten.
And we're all figuring it out as we go.
Can be exciting, can be a little scary too.
Definitely.
But I think the key is to stay curious, stay adaptable.
Embrace the change.
The podcast host was really worried about the media's influence.
Especially in the crypto space.
He thinks their narratives, often driven by politics or hidden agendas, can really distort things.
It's crucial to be media literate these days.
To think critically, spot biases, find different perspectives,
Don't just believe everything you read or hear.
especially when it comes to investing.
Right. Those decisions should be based on solid information.
He also argued that a strong U.S. economy, even with the negative media spin, could actually be good for Bitcoin.
Long term.
It challenges that idea that Bitcoin only does well when there's uncertainty,
Maybe a strong economy attracts more institutional investors.
leading to wider adoption.
It's a reminder that markets are complex.
Things aren't always what they seem.
Right.
And then there's that case with Richard Ahlgren.
The Bitcoin investor who had to hand over his keys.
Raises some big questions about privacy and government power.
Just because crypto's anonymous doesn't mean you're above the law.
We need clear regulations.
That protect individuals but also allow for law enforcement.
As crypto grows, we'll see more of these legal battles.
Setting precedents for the future.
And speaking of regulations, Ripple's partnership with Chainlink seems like a smart move.
Trying to make RLUSD the go-to stablecoin.
More regulated, more reliable.
Appealing to both everyday users and institutions.
Compliance and transparency seem to be their strategy.
Which could be a winning formula.
And Thailand's experiment with crypto payments.
In Phuket,
It's a glimpse into a potential future.
where crypto is just .normal.
You travel the world, pay for everything with Bitcoin.
No more currency exchanges.
If it works, who knows what could happen?
Other countries might jump on board.
Crypto payments could become the standard. And then there's Dubai, investing billions in AI.
Right here in the U.S.
It's a statement.
They want to be a global leader in AI.
They're not just following trends, they're setting them.
And they're bringing the U.S. along for the ride.
So if we look at the big picture, what does it all mean?
We're on the edge of something new.
A new era.
Driven by technology, by AI, by decentralization.
It's a time of incredible opportunity.
But also uncertainty.
The decisions we make today will shape the future.
That's why it's so important to have these conversations.
To explore these ideas.
But think critically.
The future isn't something that just happens to us.
We create it.
So to everyone listening, keep learning, keep questioning, keep diving deep.
Stay engaged.
The world is changing fast.
And the more informed you are,
The better prepared you'll be.
for whatever comes next.
Until next time.